I was talking about some post-revolution adventures, and I mentioned the fact that the car arrived from Germany. It wasn't at all the deal we signed up for. We didn't sign anything. It was just a handshake, if you will, trusting Stefan. But it was misplaced because the fellow didn't do what he said, didn't come up with the money, didn't answer the phone. When he did, he was, oh yes, we will solve it. What can I say? In the end, there was some, I have some issues here, but I will, don't worry, and so on. In the end, I had to visit him with four other fellas, and telling him, look, you owed money to them. And there were big guys. There was Uncle Sandu, there was, what's the name of that fellow? Florin, I don't know, a friend of his. And then there was Socrates and Adrian, two good friends back then. And in the end, he did confess. Okay, so all the money went into the car, no money back for me. And the car is in the shop, in the mechanic shop. They're fixing it. And we went, and it was a few hundred meters, very close to Victory Square, where the building of the government was and still is. And now shop there now because land would be too expensive, and then they use it for something. In fact, not on the same place. Or is it on the same place? They have some towers for the one bank, then America House. And so I saw the car. What happened probably was clearly not what Stefan, not what he said of the events, course of events. He took all the money for himself, about $3,000 or so. A huge sum for a car. Maybe it was less than 2,000 and something, but still. For instance, this tycoon I kept speaking about, Daniel, brought from Germany a car which was good enough, working order, for 500 Deutschmarks. So, what, $300? Old cars, 15, 20 years old. This one was not that old, indeed. But the problem with it was that it had been clearly through an accident, totaled perhaps. So he was even paid some money to take it out from Switzerland. From Switzerland it arrived in the end. And they were fixing it. And they had been fixing it for quite some time because it had some damage and the rhythm was slow. We love work. We can watch people work for hours. We could have said that's from Jerome K. Jerome, Three Men in a Boat. Not mentioning the dog. I love work. I can watch people work for hours, he said. And it was a mantra good enough for a communist regime. Again, you had that anecdote. Communist leader as a guest, Gorbachev, whoever. And he said, how many people work in this factory? Well, I guess about half. Because the others didn't. The others were acolytes of somebody of the regime, or it was just inefficient, or it didn't make sense to push too much because you didn't get any rewards. You had that small salary, nothing, cold. I keep mentioning it. If there is a point in doing this, it's if it would stay somewhere as a small of an addition to the record of communist atrocities, let's say. Look what they can look. If it's wrong and people dislike it, it's not me, it's what they did to me. I'm a victim to the idiot Trump, who launched his campaign for another term in the White House. It's slowly they were doing work on the car. and making it back. True, anticipating, it worked wonders in the end on one side. I mean, it was a success story because when we drove through town or on the Black Sea coast, it was smashing. I mean, we had many girls, women jump into the car and be with us and have fun with us, and sex and games and whatnot for the car mostly. So, I mean, we didn't have any, or very few skills, very few um, attributes to seduce, but then the car was the major factor in many situations, most, or I don't know. As it was, it was still a pain at this point I'm talking about, because they still had work to do, and then in the end the car disappeared. One day I come to see what the progress is, and no progress because no car. And the car is not here. So I had to go to the police. And that's in a way funny because the police said they wouldn't do anything. How come you're the police and I'm reporting not just stolen, I don't know, a stolen item as a pen, as something insignificant. But a car. And cars, I keep saying, one main reason why it was so attractive in town or coast, wherever, was because there were very few cars. Those cars were Dacia. So this was, I kept saying that, like having a helicopter or more. Not a helicopter here because in other places not. Few people have this arriving helicopters in places, and it indicates something. So police said, well, you have to take him to court, to take the mechanics to court, because for us it's not stolen. You left it there by your own volition, and it's between you now. It's not. So on this technicality, I had to scratch my head and say, okay, more losses, more damage, because I have to bribe. They were still militia man, called the militian, to get something going. And indeed, I gave some money. Said, look, it's like a reward. Okay, if you help me it's a reward. I'm going to get back the car. Maybe I mentioned also history. Anyway, I had losses with this car because it was supposed to. I had this fellow. The story I told you. And the militian didn't care about how I was cheated, but cared about the money. Went there, asked a few questions. It was the son, apparently, of one of the mechanics who took the car, and then somehow pushing around, he found that the car is abandoned. It's something like maybe 2 miles that way, near the a bridge, a railway bridge, and it had a few things wrong with it, flat and some other things, but fortunately it was not wrecked. So back to the shop, and then eventually out of it to enjoy a really unique vehicle in the circumstances. 1990, Romania after Ceausescu.